Welcome back, everyone. Family caregivers, older persons. Back to Lana's Little Things with me, Dr. Lana, specialist gerontologist, talking all things on living agelessly, bridging generational gaps, family caregiving, and entrepreneurship, and just life itself. How's your week? Wherever you are, good morning, good evening, good night to you. So, we have a broad topic for tonight because it's been a lot. It's getting hotter, as I mentioned the last time, and it's just an older person's, especially those who may be confined to bed, or just a progression of dementia and Alzheimer's. They There's an issue when it comes to eating and drinking. Oh, you know this well. It is such a broad topic, but we're trying to condense it into defining why persons with dementia and Alzheimer's have issues and challenges and don't want to eat or drink. Then we'll talk about some ways that you can notice if they're getting worse and if you may need a doctor. And thirdly, there's practical things that you can do. There's always something you can do. So we want to end on a positive note because let me tell you, the first bit is gonna be a little wonky for sure. So why is it? You've been going along, you're taught to eat and drink, you get thirsty, you get hungry, your mouth is dry, it's hot outside, you drink, you're hungry, you drink. You eat. What happens with dementia and Alzheimer's? Remember the progression of dementia and Alzheimer's, especially, and anyone as you age generally. And don't never mind those many of those older persons also would have contracted COVID-19, and that changes your sense of smell and taste and so on. So imagine that you can't taste the food, you can't smell it like you used to, the internal organs aren't metabolizing food and drink as they used to. Your sense of hot and cold, it varies. Food does not taste the same. And yet, especially for family caregivers, you think, well, I'm putting everything in there. I'm giving water every hour. I've changed this food, this drink, that drink. Nothing is working. And it is frustrating. And it's also dangerous because we know of the dangers of dehydration in older persons. It can just go to the brain and you know put them in a state of unconsciousness, and it can lead to death. It is just really, but it is really stressful to see someone you love decline in the first place, and then the one thing that you can sustain them with, they're not using. So let's go right into it because we really want to, again, talk about the solutions, talk about what you can do as opposed to understanding it better, actually, should really say, and then talking about what you can do. So, okay, the main reasons, again, we said why a person with dementia or Alzheimer's does not seem to want to eat or drink. The relationship with food has changed. Again, we said taste has changed, memory has changed, smell has changed, and there's just a general apathy. They don't want to. It's also fatiguing. Even if a person is able to feed themselves, that gets tiring. If you're being fed, it also can get tiring. There might also be difficulties in opening your mouth because they have arthritis in the jaw. So that in itself brings some challenges. Can you imagine you want to eat a spoonful, the person's telling you open your mouth, and all you can do is because your joint, it just can't unhinge like before. Chewing is challenging. Person may have dentures. They may be gum disease unchecked, or something may have just come up in their gums, or the denture's not fitting properly. And so chewing is painful, but they may not be able to articulate that to you. So they just stop eating because they don't want to chew because it hurts. And you have to be really discerning and just be mindful. It seems that you always are on the clock, 24/7. What can I do to get mom or dad or my loved one to eat and drink? Because without it, I mean, that's the sustenance of life. Like, how can we not? So, but a little grace to the space, things are changing. And once you understand that food has a different taste, then what some other persons may need is flavor. You often hear them say, food don't have any taste. You didn't put in enough salt, and you thought you did. You didn't put in enough season, and you know you did. Well, for us in the Caribbean, we like our food seasoned. We love the flavor. And who doesn't like their food? Who likes their food to taste bland anyway? So a little salt, a little sugar, a little something, a little spice, as long as your doctor approves, can go a long, long way in terms of making the food palatable. So that's something that the reason why they wouldn't want to, because it's just doesn't have any taste. What about, and if it doesn't, they don't have any taste, they're gonna lose weight. If they lose weight, they get more frail. Frailty leads to falls and fractures. We don't want that. We just don't. Why do they stop drinking then? You think, well, food has no taste, but water has no taste either. So you might wonder, why not water? I mean, that is like the sustenance of life, the big one. Well, again, taste receptors change. Also, older persons forget that they're thirsty. Or even if you ask them as a caregiver, they simply forgot. They don't remember if they've had anything to drink. They You ask them, they can't give you the information. They don't remember that they're thirsty. They're not as active, so thirst does not come into play. Even if it's hot outside, they may acknowledge it's hot, but they don't. That doesn't translate in their brain with their processes slowing down. That is something important to do. That they must drink for life. So that's one of the reasons. So it's par for the course, especially if the person may have other non-communicable diseases, and you might have to restrict their water intake. But generally speaking, not drinking is usually one of the major things of Alzheimer's. They can't tell you they're thirsty, thirst goes down, taste goes down. What does that lead to? Constipation. If you don't have enough fluid, you're going to be constipated, right? If you don't have enough fluid and your bladder can't clear itself and it just stays stagnant and you're not moving around, bladder infections come, which makes things even worse. Ha! It sounds as though it's getting worse, right? Stay with me. Just stay with me. Just stay with me here. So we talked about the processes. The brain is changing, taste is changing, smell is changing, desire is changing. Fatigue comes on board because it's just it can be tiring to chew, it's tiring to eat, it's tiring to, and they also, persons with dementia and Alzheimer's, especially as the stages go along, it's progressive. They get distracted, so you're starting to feed them or they're eating, and then something happens or someone says something in there and they're distracted, and then they don't want food at all at any point. They may, what is frustrating too is they may tell you, they may actually say, I'm hungry or thirsty. You bring the food or drink and they don't want it. I thought you said you were hungry or thirsty. No, I'm not hungry or thirsty. You can't force, how can you force feed them? You know, they can clamp their mouths down and tell you that you can't get anything in. And it really is, it takes away from their dignity and autonomy to actually force someone to eat. So, you've got some causes, it's all in the brain, it's processing. You've got the challenges, you've got the reasons, the things that they may say or do. So let's talk now about tips to one, help your person who has dementia or Alzheimer's to eat and drink well and stay hydrated. Again, it's a process, and no one size fits all. Speak to your doctor about certain things that might need to be avoided. If the person has high diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you may not want to give, you want to give calorie dense foods, but you may not want to give sugary things. So it's really a balance in that. So you can't do it alone. So seek the help of the doctor or a family friend who knows. Sometimes you just need to go down to the grassroots level and speak to a family friend or friend who's had this to deal with, and just try it out. Nothing, it can't go wrong. I mean, like, just try whatever you need to. So some of the things that you can do for meal at mealtime: schedule mealtime. Make sure the person knows, okay, this is always the time when we get to eat. Some advocates say wait till the person is hungry or it seems that they want something, but that could be a whole day. They may never say they're hungry. So you do have to kind of preempt and think for them, and then say, okay, well, if I have a set schedule, then I know you've eaten. Remember to, an empty plate isn't always the the be all and end all. Yeah, everyone race. No. Sometimes really do have to cut it in smaller portions, and like children, make it colorful. Blend certain things. Make it easy to chew. Make it make it fun. An idea that can come is if the person is able to sit upright. If they're in bed, make them help them to sit upright so you don't get food going the wrong way, like in the lungs. But if they can't get out and if they are ambulant and so on, then by all means, they used to eat at the table, the dining table, the family table. Anyway, maybe if you put them close to where we're used to eating, there's a sense of familiarity there. So make meal times familiar. Make it something that is to be done. Maybe just the appearance of pappy foods that is all blended and pureed might not be appealing. So you might have to puree some, grate some, process some, break it down to chew, talk with your nutritionist, and just see what you can do. In addition to making mealtime predictable, scheduled, um, and fun, here's another thing: eating is social. It's a social event. So I know some caregivers, many, most, say, well, you know what? Let me make sure mom and dad are eating and I haven't eaten. And then I'll eat whenever. Well, you know that doesn't happen. And we're talking self care here too. True. So remember, you don't want to be starving and they're not eating, you trying to feed them, it's not working, and you're getting hungrier and hungrier as time goes on. I'm more frustrated. Have you ever tried, or what? Tell me in your comments below. Have you ever tried? Well, I know you've been trying everything, but here's one suggestion that you can try: bring them to the table with where they would have eaten. That's one. We spoke about that, but also sit and have your meal at the same time. So schedule meals that everyone can be eating together. And it's not just, well, I'm in a corner here, this is my feed time, you gotta feed me. Because eating is social, it's a social event. Now, there's another suggestion of having drink while they're eating. That might affect digestion, that might create bloating, that might induce, like, slow transit time in the stomach because the food and the water there and so on. And personally, I was brought up not to eat or drink. And if most people are brought up, older persons have been brought up with that. So having a drink when they are eating may not work, but it might. So try it. So meal times, we dealt with that. Dehydration is so dangerous. Really got to focus a little bit on this one. And these are what you can do. So some persons have a sippy cup, depending. Some persons might use a straw. Some patients might be able to hold the utensil in their hand. Make sure it's light. Make sure they can see what it is you're giving them. So make the cup as see-through as possible. Vary the cup. So if you have a cup with juice, make that a different color. The cup with water, a different color. Flavor it with, infuse it. So cut some cucumber slices, cut some watermelon slices. It adds to the liquid that they're getting. If you find that they're not really drinking as much, offer watermelon. Offer like blended cucumber, take the seeds out and let them drink it. Iced tea, any fluid that you can get in that is not a diuretic, definitely not like beer for sure, because alcohol makes dementia and all brain activities worse and slow down. So we ain't doing no alcohol, really. Some persons get tired drinking from a straw, but I have seen persons having an adult, like, you know, have the children like a sippy cup, because honestly sometimes this mug can look so daunting. It feels heavy for an older person. They're going to negotiate how to put their mouth on it, to drink it, and that can be tiring and confusing, and the brain has to process all of that. So make the glass simple, make it light, give different colors, flavor the drink, give it regularly as well. And if they don't drink all, don't despair. Come back another time. If they ask for it and they seem thirsty and they don't want it, say, okay, come back another time. Pick a struggle. Pick your battles. This is the long game we're playing. You know what I found interesting in the research? I'll tell you. Foods that actually, not only fruits and foods that have a high sugar, not sugar, a high fluid content like water, melon, cucumber, but also you can put the same watermelon drink, freeze it, or just buy a lolly that's low sugar if the person can manage sugar. Make a normal lolly, you know, the lollies that we would have as children. Um, Put foods that have, add gravy to the food so that there's liquid content. We in the Caribbean, we love gravy. Okay, so you know, I don't know, wherever you are, put a liquid sauce near it, or start with soup, and then you know, see if they would take that in, because that's liquid and solid and taste and flavor and something different. So make the bowl look different too. Yogurt is another thing. Why? Because it's got good bacteria. It helps with digestion. It's for the most part tasty, and it's low in calorie. It can be low in calories, but it's calorie dense too. So it helps you to feel full, and it helps you to digest. Milk jellies, you know, the sugar-free jellos. We grew up on jellos. My generation, we grew up on jello. I think that's not a brand thing. Just milk, sugar, and you freeze it, semi-freeze it, and it comes in like a jelly substance, and you put it in the fridge. Oh, it's yum yum. That's a flavor. Make it colorful. Make it tasty. Um, and then there are days when nothing seems to work, and they seem to not be drinking or eating at all. And a couple of days have gone by. You notice that their urine is not the same, their stool is not the same, or it's harder, and they're getting constipated, or they seem to be in pain when they go into the toilet. Those are signs that dehydration requires more than a simple effort. It may require physician intervention. It may require that we put up drips. It may require, they may have an infection, and it may just be you treat the infection, usually bladder or lung infection, and more lo and behold they eat and drink. Other appetite, we're not talking about stimulants, but there are B vitamins which improve appetite. So you might want to do that. Give another extra. Can't go wrong with B vitamins. It does help with appetite for children and for everybody, for younger children and for older adults as well. If they are looking lethargic, that's another reason. Like, they're not moving, they're not getting out of bed, they're not themselves, they're sleeping all the time. They'd rather sleep than eat. That could be dementia, it could be Alzheimer's, it could just be a dehydration, because that's one of the signs. So I hope, I trust that this was helpful to you, because as roller coaster as it sounds, is as roller coaster as you feel. The days you're trying, you're doing your best, you're doing all, you're not eating, you're seeing them looking more frail, you don't know what to do. What you can do is vary the times, make it comfortable, make it familiar, make it a social event. make it a time where they are looking forward to it. Let them eat according to what they want. Don't stuff the food. Don't force them to eat. Come back another time. Like when your head cools off, they're gonna eat. They will drink at some point. But as it progresses, sometimes it gets worse and you have to seek the doctor. So please share this with a friend. Knows a lot of information, a lot of things happening. But mealtime is, especially in the light of dementia and Alzheimer's, it is, not can be, it is challenging. And it's frustrating and it's distressing and it's dangerous. So, but it's not undoable. It's not undoable. So we have the suggestions. Tell me which one of those suggestions worked or works for you. Or if you have any other questions, please remember I give free Zoom calls. You can email me, it'll be in the link. You can contact me. We can have a free 15-minute Zoom call. I do group coaching. I coaching for caregivers, coaching for um, well, older persons, physicians. Let's get together. Let's have a discussion. Let's see how we can work it together. And the long game is not changing. But how we work with the long game will have to go a long way in just making this process less distressing. So from my heart to yours, Dr. Lana saying, have a cuppa. Don't tomorrow's another day. Choose wisely, choose your battles wisely. Today has its own stressors, tomorrow will have its own. But every time you try something new and you get a reward for it, try something else. They're still there. They're still there. That person is still there, holding to life, holding to precious life. Share any comments. Let me know how this has helped. Share it with a friend. Like and subscribe. Press the notification bell. And we'll talk some more next week. Good morning, good evening, good night. From my heart to yours, Dr. Lana signing out. Mwah.